Did you know that carbon tariffs have already entered the lives of ordinary people like us? Friends, let me tell you something first. I just got back from Europe. I stayed for over 20 days and visited 4 countries: Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. In fact, I went to Frankfurt to attend the world's largest LED lighting exhibition. But to be honest, during this time, I felt more like a field observer. Why do I say that? Because every day in every country and every city, I was doing the same thing, visiting supermarkets, checking prices, chatting with locals, and observing every detail on the streets. You ask me why I did that? Because for those of us in foreign trade, if you want to know if a market is viable, just looking at customs data is useless. We have to walk it, see it with our own eyes, and ask with our own mouths. So, what was my biggest takeaway from this trip to Europe? Undercurrents are surging.
On the surface, Europe is still Europe, picturesque with towering cathedrals and street cafes filled with people soaking up the sun. But if you take a deeper look, you'll find that this seemingly peaceful place is undergoing a silent tsunami. And the starting point of this tsunami is Germany. On January 1st, 2026, the EU carbon tariff officially begins. Exported from China to Europe will cost an extra 14 euros per ton. This number seemed quite abstract when I saw it back, but when I was actually at the Frankfurt exhibition, chatting with a German supplier, I truly felt its weight. He said something that left a deep impression on me. He said, "Blair, your products are great, but our procurement logic has changed. Price is no longer the top priority. Carbon footprint is what matters most." I was stunned when I heard that. Is carbon footprint a term that's just talk in China, really going to be implemented in 2026? So today, let's talk about this carbon tariff that has the whole world confused. Based on what I saw and heard in Germany, let's see what it has actually changed. Germany's current situation is actually one of surface prosperity but inner anxiety. First, let's talk about my first impression of Germany this time. Frankfurt is the financial center of Europe, with skyscrapers everywhere and streets full of business people in suits. But if you walk to a slightly more remote neighborhood in Frankfurt, like the one where I stayed, you'll see a different scene. In the supermarket, a liter of milk has risen from 1.2 euros last year to 1.8 euros, and a baguette costs 3.5 euros.
Undercurrents are surging, Germany's largest supermarket chain, and when I checked out, I almost thought I'd miscalculated. A bottle of mineral water is 2.2 euros, a carton of eggs is 4.5 euros, and a pack of sausages is actually 6 euros. A Chinese student next to me saw me staring at the receipt and said with a smile, "Young lady, you'll get used to it. We've all been through this. We're already used to it." Behind those words is the real life of ordinary Germans. I talked to a Chinese owner of a restaurant in Frankfurt. He said Germans are much stingier with money now. It used to be full of family gatherings on weekends, but now it's mostly individuals ordering a quick meal and leaving right after eating. It's not that they don't want to eat, it's just that prices are rising too fast and wages can't keep up. What's the reason behind this? It's the surge in energy prices, the rise in manufacturing costs, and the structural pain of the entire German economy. The latest data on the German economy shows that in 2025, Germany's GDP growth was only 0.3%, which is almost zero growth. The manufacturing PMI has been in the 50% contraction zone for 8 consecutive months now. What does that mean? It means that orders for German factories are dwindling, while news of layoffs is becoming more and more frequent. While I was in Frankfurt for the trade fair, I made a special trip to Wolfsburg, the headquarters of Volkswagen. You heard that right. I went there specifically to take a look. The factory area there was completely deserted. Locals say Volkswagen announced 35,000 layoffs last year, and it's continuing this year. A veteran employee who's been at the factory for 20 years told me, "We used to have 3 shifts a day, but now we're down to just 2. It's not that Volkswagen doesn't have orders. It's just that costs are so high now that even if you build the cars, you can't sell them. So where exactly are these high costs coming from? It's mainly energy and carbon. Industrial electricity in Germany is about 0.3 euros per kilowatt hour, which is 3 times higher than in China. Add in the carbon costs, and many energy-intensive companies are on the verge of collapse. Take BASF, the world's largest chemical company. Last year, they announced the closure of several plants in Germany, moving production to China and Southeast Asia. So you see, Germany's problem isn't about technology anymore. It's about whether their factories can even survive. So the truth about CBAM is that it protects the upstream but hurts the downstream. Let's get back to this carbon tariffs. The logic behind CBAM actually sounds quite noble. For instance, if products sold to Europe have high carbon emissions, you have to pay up. They call it preventing carbon leakage. This is meant to put foreign companies and European companies on a level playing field. But what's the real truth? At a trade fair in Frankfurt, a sales manager from a German steel company told me, his name is Hans, a typical old-school German, very direct. He said to me, "Blair, you know what? How many free standard quotas have our German steel mills received over the past few decades? We're only just starting to pay these carbon tariffs, while your Chinese products have to pay in full from day one. Do you think that's fair?" I just smiled and didn't say a word. Hans continued, "And the worst part of CBAM isn't actually for us upstream, it's for the downstream car and machinery plants. The steel they use, whether imported or domestic, has all gone up in price. We upstream are indeed protected, but they're getting hit hard." That really hits the nail on the head. CBAM protects Germany's upstream industries, like steel, cement, and aluminum, but it hurts downstream sectors like automotive, machinery, and appliances. Germany is a manufacturing nation. It doesn't just produce steel, it's a massive consumer. Cars, machinery, appliances, which of these can do without steel? So when steel prices rise, the costs across the entire downstream supply chain go up as well. This is the contradiction I mentioned. It protects the upstream shield, but pierces the downstream spear of your supply chain. Near the Volkswagen plant in Wolfsburg, another supplier told me they make auto parts, mainly supplying Volkswagen and BMW. He said much of the steel they use is actually imported from China. Now they pay 144 euros more per ton, cutting their profits by 15%. Volkswagen is pushing prices down so hard, it's like we're getting squeezed from both ends. So you see, the impact of CBAM is not linear. It's a network. It's like a massive net covering the entire supply chain. Whether it's our Chinese factories or Germany on the other side of the world, no one can escape it. Now, let's talk about the impact on Chinese factories and foreign trade professionals. So, what do carbon tariffs mean for our Chinese factories and trade people? First, the risks. The biggest risk here is the rising costs. Steel and aluminum account for over 70% of CBAM's impact. Profits per ton of steel could be squeezed by about 15%, which is a fatal blow for many companies relying on price advantages. Here's a counterintuitive fact. China's aluminum exports to the EU account for only 1.8%, with the total cost in the first year around $100 to $200 million. This isn't a devastating blow, it's a signal of a change in direction. What does this mean? It's telling you that the old path is a dead end. You need to switch to a new track. Now, let's talk about the opportunities. At the Frankfurt Fair, I saw an interesting phenomenon. Many Chinese exhibitors were promoting low-carbon steel and green aluminum at their booths. Last year, many factories in Zhejiang already started transitioning, using solar power for production. Their carbon footprint is even lower than their European counterparts. Now, European customers are scrambling to buy their goods. You see, that's the opportunity here. Although CBAM serves as a threshold, it also acts as a screening criterion. Whoever transitions first gains the upper hand. Whoever stands still will be phased out. Another major trend lately is the shift in production capacity. I've noticed many business owners setting up factories in Vietnam lately. They're moving some high carbon production there, using local hydropower. This significantly cuts carbon costs. Then they export to Europe from Vietnam, saving on both tariffs and carbon taxes. Essentially, this is a flanking maneuver and supply chain strategy. In the future, more Chinese companies will expand production to Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. They'll use local green energy to make low-carbon products and then sell them back to Europe. Another major trend is the upgrade on a technological level. During my trip to Germany, I visited a green steel project at a German steel mill. They're replacing coal with hydrogen energy, aiming to achieve a completely zero-carbon goal by 2030. While costs are still high right now, the direction is already very clear. So what does this mean for Chinese companies? It means you can't just make basic steel products anymore. You need to produce refined, green, and specialty steel. You can't just keep fighting in price wars. You have to compete on technology, carbon footprint, and global supply chain stability. Finally, let's talk about what I felt in Germany, specifically the attitude of local Germans toward China. First, let me share something that left a deep impression on me. While I was in Germany, I attended a dinner hosted by a local supplier. After a few drinks, a German guy suddenly asked me, "Blair, do you Chinese people really hate us? Because we're always putting restrictions on your products." I was totally caught off guard. I just smiled and said, "No, I actually like you guys, especially your cheese and sausages." He burst out laughing and then told me seriously, "Actually, we don't want this either. These are decisions from the top. Down here, we just want to do good business. Your product quality is getting better and better, and the prices are very competitive. We really need them." Hearing that really gave me a lot to think about. It shows that the German attitude toward China is actually very complex and pragmatic. On one hand, politicians are calling for de-risking and reducing dependency. On the other hand, German businesses and ordinary people still want to buy high-quality, affordable Chinese goods. If you go to the streets of any city in Germany right now, you'll see many Germans and locals using our Xiaomi phones, Huawei watches, and DJI drones. I also saw many made-in-China products in supermarkets, from toys to appliances and clothes to daily necessities. So what do all these signs actually indicate? It shows that made in China is deeply embedded in German life. It's not something politicians can just cut off with a few slogans. But at the same time, I also sensed a faint feeling of anxiety. Many Germans are worried that if China-EU relations remain tense, their lives will definitely be affected. Their concern is that if China stops selling to them, they might not even be able to afford a phone anymore. That's a bit of a joke, but it's actually quite close to the reality. To sum up my trip to Germany, first, it's prosperous on the surface but anxious inside, with soaring prices, high energy costs, and huge pressure on manufacturing. Second, CBAM isn't an environmental policy. It's a restructuring of trade rules. It protects the upstream industry but hurts the downstream, causing a reshuffle across the entire supply chain. Third, for Chinese exporters, risks and opportunities coexist. Rising costs are a risk, but tech upgrades and capacity shifts are opportunities. Fourth, Germans have a complex and pragmatic mindset towards China. They both need and worry about made in China. Finally, a counterintuitive point, China might not be the hardest hit by the carbon footprint rule. It could be Europe itself. When supply chains shift for decarbonization, Europe gets a world that's farther, costlier, and more complex, not just lower carbon. In the next episode, let's talk about France. I went to Paris, visited the Eiffel Tower, browsed local supermarkets, and spoke with some French business people. Guess what? While the French tax Chinese EVs, they can't live without China's rare earths. What are they really thinking? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode.